Hello guys, welcome back to our course on Unreal Smart AI. We are back with more features to add on to our AI. So today we are going to add some combat features that is going to make our AI basically attack the player and make the player hit, react or damage the player, or any other visual effects that we might feel that we need to add. Previously you might remember that we did do some perception systems. We added a hearing perception, we added a sight perception and a damage perception to our AI. Also we made our AI turn into a smart AI by implementing all those perception with the behavior, and we do have made the foundation for our AI. And let's just get started with the combat system right now. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to need is create a collision for our axe. So if we go here, you can see that I have made a collision for our axe handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it to you how we made that. So I'm going to go here under mesh inside the animation mode. I'm going to set it as use animation blueprint. This will basically make our character idle pose and we can use it without any hassle. So here, as you can see, I have added a collision box to the head of the axe. So basically what it does is that it's going to detect whether this box is colliding with any player or our target character. If it does, then we are going to trigger an event according to that. So you can basically set it as per your liking. So for an axe, I have set it just for the tip of the axe, the top edge, but for a sword we can have a collision box running along its edge so that we can have the entire sword, and so on. Basically it depends on how the weapon is or what type of weapon we are using. So you can basically add this weapon collision by going here under add and searching box collision and basically adding it. That will add it under the weapon mesh, and obviously we need to set all our values to 0 for the location. I just adjusted it a bit so that it centers with our axe. So yeah, I'm going to reset this to its previous location and press compile and save. So that is the collision that we are having right now. Next, what I'm going to do is add an anim notify. So basically whenever it is attacking, it's going to trigger that anim notify at a certain part of the animation, and whenever that anim notify is triggered, it's going to check whether the collision is colliding with the player or the attack target. So to do that, firstly I'm going to set our mesh animation blueprint to the one that we are using. Yeah. Next I'm going to go to the animation that we were using there for the attacking. So that is this one, standing melee attack, and here I'm going to delete that. So we are going to add the anim notify here under the notify section. I have added a subsection here called others to add that notify, but first we are going to make a custom notify for that. And to do that, I'm going to go inside enemy blueprint folder. So here we are inside the folder. Here I have made a folder called anim notify. Inside this folder I'm going to create the anim notify. So on right click, we can go here in blueprints, okay, not here, but we can go here in blueprint class and search anim notify. Now there are two types of anim notify. One is a normal anim notify and the second one is an anim notify state. Now what's the difference, you might ask? The base difference between those two is that an anim notify is triggered only once when the pin for the animation playing pin is on top of that anim notify. But an anim notify state on the other hand gets continuously triggered as long as the anim notify runs. So basically we can set it for a set amount of time inside the animation, and for the entire part of that animation it's going to play. So I'm going to create AnimNotify state here, and select this and press enter, and I'm going to call it ans underscore my bad I'm going to call it ans underscore on attack. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to override a function called receive notify tick. Basically it's like event tick. It gets called the entire time the AnimNotify is getting played. So here we have a few pins. We can get the mesh for the animation, we can get the animation itself, or the frame time that the pin is at. So I'm going to get mesh comp and get owner. So after getting the owner, we can basically either cast it to our enemy, but we are going to create a combat interface that we can use. So basically what it does is that it's going to make it a bit more efficient, since casting takes a bit more resources than something like a interface. Also, casting does require hard referencing the class, and we don't want that, so as to keep the project more scalable for future use. So I'm going to use a interface right now. I'm going to go here, and inside our data folder I'm going to create a BPI. So on right click, blueprint, and create a blueprint interface. So I can go here, BPI underscore combat. Yeah, and I'm going to call that function on attack. I'm going to keep it simple right now, so we don't need any input pins as of now. I'm going to attach it down here, so as to keep it clean and stuff. So here I'm going to call on attack, and after it is called, I'm going to send the return value as true. So yeah, and inside our BP enemy, we are basically going to implement this event. So here under class settings, first I'm going to implement the interface by pressing here add and searching BPI combat. Yeah, press compile, and inside interface we have the function event, and we can basically use this event to trigger anything that we want to. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check against this weapon collision whether it is colliding with our attack target or not. So I'm going to get overlapping actors and loop it through to get all the actors that it is overlapping around. And if the overlapping actor is equal to the attack target, then we are going to damage the target for now. So here I'm going to get AI controller. It will be of reference self, and from the return value I am going to get blackboard, and from the blackboard I'm going to get the variable. So get value as object, and for the literal name I can just go inside our controller and copy this. So Control C, Control V, and we have that. Now we just need to check against this whether it is equal to the attack target or not. If it is, I'm going to have a branch. Also, to prevent this from getting called continuously, since it will be overlapping our actor a long time, and we don't want it to call itself continuously the whole time, I'm going to add a do once here. So yeah, added the do once, and I'm going to basically reset it. So I'm going to have a add custom event and call it reset attacking do once. Now this will be called when the reset will be called when the animation is finished. We are going to get there in a second, but right now, once this do once is called, I want to call a function called apply damage, and our damaged actor will be the array element, and we can basically promote this base damage to a float. Okay, we already have one, so we can use that itself. So I'm going to delete this one, and we are going to use base damage. So I have set a value for base damage of around 20 for now, but we can basically change it according to our needs. So I've exposed it for spawn, so we can do that. Next, since this is done, I want to move it a bit down and clear it here. So that basically is our event on attack function, and now I want to make another function for ending the attack. So inside combat, I'm going to add one function on attack end. And inside this anim notify state, we have another function called receive notify end. So this is called when the notify is ending, so whenever the pin is on the ending part of the notify. So we can get owner, we can get owner here, and from here we can basically call the function. So on attack end, right? And we can basically override that function inside our BP player. So here we have on attack end, and here we can basically reset it, or reset attacking do once. So yeah, that resets this. We can also add any other cosmetic or VFX function that we want here, but as of now this is all right. Now inside player, I'm going to basically implement that event for on damage. So whenever this apply damage is called, it's going to trigger an event for the player. So I'm going to get on, I think it's called any damage, yeah, event any damage. So this event is triggered whenever the player or the attacker, or the actor is getting damaged through that specific function of event apply damage or event on point damage. So we can basically use this function. It will return the damage value that we passed there, and it will also send who the instigator is or who the damage causer is, and we also have a damage type, but we don't need that. So on event any damage, I'm going to, for now, just print the amount of damage that we received. So print string, I'm going to add it here and compile, save, and I think that is all for now. We can test it out here. So he sees me, comes near me, he attacks me. So it is not getting called. Also the camera is colliding with the box mesh, I guess, so we need to fix that. Oh yeah, obviously it's not working because we haven't attached the anim notify to our animation. So I'm going to go to our animation here, and we are going to basically add the anim notify here. So right click on the anim notify track and ANS on attack. So I want the animation to start somewhere around here, from here till here. I'm going to save it and let's check this out. And as you can see, we did get attack. Now if I run away while it is attacking, it won't call that event. Also, the box might be interfering with our camera boom, so we also need to fix that. So I'm going to go here inside enemy base, weapon collision. I'm going to just check whether it is colliding with anything or not. Okay, it is not. I'm going to check the same for weapon mesh. Yeah, it is set to block. So what's that going to do is going to overlap or affect our camera. So I am going to make it have no collision at all. So let's check it out now. And as you can see, it's not overlapping with our camera, but the player's hand is, sorry, the enemy's hand is. So we need to fix that as well. So here inside the camera, I can set it as custom and object type is alright. So we can basically set it as no collision, and for the character mesh, I'm going to also make it have no collision, or it won't affect the camera channel. So I'm going to just search collision here, and inside of collision preset, I'm going to make it custom and ignore our camera. So yeah, let's test it out. So it's going to come near me, and as you can see, it won't be affecting our camera anymore, however close we are. So yeah, that's great. Next we need to add some hit reacts onto this, and basically that's what we are going to do next. So on this event, we are going to play some hit reacts or add some VFX to our player. Next thing that we are going to implement is the hit react system for the player. So what I'm going to do here is basically I'm going to add a montage. So let's say I have a play montage here, and inside this montage I'm going to have the mesh as the skeletal component. We don't require this event any damage, or I mean the printing statement. So here inside the play montage, I can add any montage that I want to. So I imported a hit react montage here. So as you can see, it's a simple hit react to the stomach. Obviously it's not that great in blending with the other animations, since it's just a placeholder animation. You can obviously use your own animations, create your own anim blueprint for the player itself, but right now we are just going to focus on the AI part, and for now I'm just going to use that placeholder animation. So I can just create an animation montage, and add it here. And let's just see if this works or not. So as you can see, it attacks me and I hit react according to that. Also, if while attacking I'm out of his range, the hit react won't be called since it's not hitting me. So yeah, that's that. So we have a hit react right now. We can also add an overlay to this. So I'm just going to quickly add that. So I'm going to basically add a red type of blipping effect that we can have during the damage. So to do that, I'm going to go here inside content and create a new folder called UI. Inside this UI, I'm going to right click, and down here we have a widget blueprint, and I'm going to make it use a widget blueprint and call it umg underscore hit overlay. I'm going to go here, I want to add a canvas panel, and around that canvas panel I'm going to add an image, and basically I'm just going to make this image fit the entire screen. So I'm going to do this and set all these to 0, and basically I'm going to set the color for this to red and its opacity to 0. Now I want to create an animation where this overlay is going to change its opacity from 0 to 1 and then again back to 0. So I'm going to do that by clicking on animations down here. I'm going to add a new animation and call it hit overlay. I'm going to go here, I'm going to add a track. One second, I'm going to add a track here and bring in our image, and here I'm just going to change the opacity. So color and opacity, or just render opacity, and I'm going to set it to 0 for the first keyframe, and then for 0.25 seconds I'm going to set it to 1, and then by 0.5 seconds I'm going to set it back to 0. Now if I play this, also I need to change this image opacity to 1 here since I'm changing it from render opacity. So compile, save, and inside this animation I'm just going to play it. I think we can set this one as 0.5 since complete red color is a bit weird, or maybe 0.25. You can basically play with the values and see what's more suitable for you, or you can just add a blood overlay from Google Images or whatever. So basically adding a PNG image instead of a base red solid color. So here I'm going to check it again. Yeah, that looks good enough. I want to save it, and inside of player I'm basically going to add this widget. I want to create widget. Sorry, not create. I think it was something like let me just see here. I don't remember the name. Yeah, it was create widget. So under this class I'm going to add our hit overlay, and just before playing the animation I'm going to add to viewport, and once the animation is over, I'm going to delete this. So remove from parent once the animation is on blend out. So let's check it out. Okay, so it turns its opacity to 1, which we don't want. I want to check the animation once again. So yeah, I haven't played the animation, so on event construct we need to get the hit world animation and play animation. So yeah, our start time will be 0, number of loops will be 1, and play mode will be forward. Now let's test it out. And as you can see, the overlay is working perfectly. So yeah, you can add any type of overlay according to your needs, but we are going to use that. And the last thing that I want to do is add a similar hit react function for our enemy. So I'm going to go inside enemy, and let's say the player is attacking. I'm going to use some sort of event to call that from the player. So let's say I'm using left click or left mouse button, and on left mouse button I'm basically going to call that hit react for now. But when we will have a complete combat system set up from the player side, we can basically use the animation itself like we used in the enemy blueprint here. So if we get the player from here, right now I'm just going to get the player character itself. So get actor of class, and it will be our BP enemy. And once we have the enemy, we are going to create a hit react function so we can use our combat interface that we just implemented. So I'm just going to create a function for our interface. So add function hit react, and inside our player we can either use that, or we can obviously use our apply damage function that we previously used. I guess I will use that, it would be better, because then we can also have the damage value itself. So inside our BP player I'm going to just apply damage, and our base damage will be, I'm going to promote it to a variable and call it base damage again. I'm going to expose it to spawn, and I'm going to compile it and set it to 20. So yeah, that will basically apply damage to our character. And when our character gets damaged, so we can use event on event any damage. We can play an animation or whatever, or we can make a health component for our enemy and use that. We are not going to do that here. We are going to do that later when we will be implementing everything together, so that we can create a single health component and add it onto our AI. For now, I'm just going to again play montage, and inside play montage I'm going to get mesh, and we need an animation for that, so we can get that from Mixamo. I'm going to get back to you once I have the animation, and I have imported an animation for the hit react. Here it is. So basically when the AI will get hit reacted, it will play this animation. I'm going to create a montage from this. So create anim montage and save this up. Next I'm going to do is inside the enemy base, I'm going to basically play this animation and save it up here, and I'm going to play from here. So whenever I press left click, it's going to do that. But one thing that we need to keep in mind is that we need to check whether the enemy is attacking or is in any other state or not. If not, then we need to set it onto our frozen state. And if we don't do that, then as we can see here, whenever I press left click, it's going to hit react while it is in that state, and it might bug our AI itself. So yeah, and let's say I'm just doing it in the beginning, then it will get stuck meanwhile while it was playing that animation. So we need to keep in mind a few things. We can't directly play it on the event hit react. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the state from I'm going to abort the state change, and I'm going to abort the state or whatever the task it is doing in that state, and I'm going to change the state to the hit react state. So I won't need some of these tabs, so I'm going to close all those. I don't need ANS attack, I don't need the animation, I might need the controller, I don't need the player. So I'm going to save everything, and now I'm going to open our behavior tree. So inside enemy AI behavior tree, basically I'm going to create another state called BTT, another state for the frozen state. So I'm just going to control D this one, duplicate it, and set its state to frozen, and inside this frozen state it's going to play that animation. So I'm going to create a task, BTT blueprint base. I'm going to call it BTT underscore hit react. So I want to save it, and on receive execute AI, I'm going to play our hit react function. So again, instead of casting it directly, I'm just going to have an interface to that for me. So inside combat, I want to dock it here, and inside the combat I'm going to need the function for hit react. And we have the function. So here inside hit react, I'm going to get the control pawn and call hit react. And once this function is called inside our enemy base, so I'm going to get, so it is here, hit react, and I'm going to play animation. So play anim montage, and get the mesh here, and our montage. Okay, I'm just going to use that one instead that we already had made. So I'm just going to get this, and on event hit react is going to play this one, and once it is completed, I'm going to on hit react complete, I'm going to make this delegate and call this delegate. So call on completed or on interrupted. So yeah, and once this is called, I'm going to go here and assign on. Okay, so I might have to cast it anyways, so I'm going to go here, or it should be available. Let me just check it first. No, it is not. I'm just going to check the other functions that I had used. So let's say PTT attack. Yeah, so I have to cast it anyways, so since I have to do that, I don't need the interface event anymore. So I'm going to go inside enemy base. I'm going to remove this, and I am also going to remove the interface event from the interface. Yeah, so delete, compile, and for when we are calling hit react, we can just cast to enemy base. We can have a function inside enemy base called hit react. So I'm going to create a custom event on hit react, and this will be basically called from the behavior tree task, and inside the task BTT hit react, and to call it on hit react, and also one for assign on hit react completed. Yeah, so once that is done, I'm going to finish execute, and basically this is going to be the task. Also, while equipping, I might need to add one for changing the state once an abort is called. So I'm going to right click here, or I can just override the function here, receive abort AI, and once this is called, I'm going to get the controller and stop, how was it, inside the pawn. Okay, I might have to cast it here, so cast to BP enemy. I have to get the mesh, it will be down here, and from here I need to animation stop. Yeah, and I'm going to finish abort. So yeah, that will be done, and here inside this I'm going to finish execute. There won't be any abort since the hit react has the highest priority, but if it gets called, it won't cause any issues anyways. So yeah, I'm going to keep it like that, and on event any damage, I'm just going to change the state, and I actually want to do that through the controller itself. So let's see if we can do that here inside event graph. yeah, so we do have the function here, or we can just call a function from our enemy base. So once this is called, we can get our controller. So get controller, control actor will be self, and I'm going to cast it BP enemy controller. Once that is done, I'm going to create a function inside the controller, or I can just change the state from here. So set state to, so I'm going to need a new function for that. I'm going to just copy it from a previous function. So I'm going to copy this one and call it set state to frozen. And basically I'm just going to change the state from anything to frozen. So yeah, that will be it. And now I'm going to call it here, set state to frozen. I want to save it. So it's going to change the state to frozen. Inside the frozen, I'm going to call BTT hit react, and once this function is finished, I'm going to set back the state to whatever it was, so chasing or attacking. So inside enemy base, yeah, right here. So when the hit react is played and on completed or on interrupted, I'm going to change this state back to attacking. So I'm just going to do this, whatever I did here, and instead of setting state to frozen, I'm going to set state to chasing, and our attack target will be the player itself, get player character. So yeah, so if I play right now from here, and if I left click, so it will be set to frozen state, so it won't be chasing me or running towards me while attacking. So let's say it's attacking me and I press left click, it stops, it hit reacts, and then it continues attacking. Or let's say if it's between an attack's animation, if I press left click and attack him, then it's going to stop the attack animation and it will hurt the AI itself. So yeah, that's our basic combat system setup, and we have finally completed our basics for the AI. We do have a functioning AI right now, along with a combat system implemented into it. The last thing that we need to do is to implement this final AI into our project. So we will do that in our next video. I hope it was easy for you to understand this one. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye bye.